The war has already begun. It is just a continuation of past battles. The gods goad us on with the promise of their 7 treasures, rewards for the worthy, the doorway to divinity. Yet buried in the depths of this world lies smoldering remains, a warning to those that dare trespass. That throne in the sky is not reserved for you. But mortal arrogation never stops. None will escape the flames. See for yourself.
Hi, I'm Megamin. I think I have cracked Genshin. History of countless chess games and the end of Genshin. Also the meaning of the ridiculous words Dainsleif speak. So I was going to do research on a theory about domains and subspaces like the ones we have in events and stuff. But reading through the domain descriptions, I fell into a rabbit hole that made me scream at the top of my lungs and run around my room, basically an eureka moment. I think I found the truth about this tangled up world. As Dainsleif said, we are in a battle that have already started long ago, and this is just the continuation of past battles. Some theories I will be making today will deny other theories we have established so far, and I will be hitting a bullseye with this theory, or if I am just a tad bit off, I could be way off the mark. So hit that like and subscribe button to let me know you are ready to fall into this dark and unexplored rabbit hole with me that may or may not lead in the right place. And do share, cause why not drag your friends along the ride? Okay, I will walk you through every detail that went through my mind, so listen carefully cause there's a lot to take in. First, I started reading through all the domain descriptions starting from the forgery ones, or the ones that gave weapon enhancement mats. Currently, we have 3 of those, one per region. The boss domains, adaptoriums and other one-time domains are thrown out of the window cause they are not useful here. So the Mondstadt one goes like this. The Cecilia flowers that only grew on the high cliffs once bloomed in the greenhouse here. The ancient civilization that once enjoyed the scent of the Cecilia was lost, and so too was the sea of white flowers. This one essentially means that some people that lived long time ago loved sniffing Cecilia flowers, but for some reason they are now gone. And where else have I heard this and seen this thing about white flowers?
My memory has all but faded completely. But I will always remember how much she too loved these flowers.
Oh yeah, that's right, Dainsleif told it. Then the Liyue ones. The operation of the Lenshan formula created endless thunderstorms within the bowls of the mountain. It is said that the rumbling sounds of the thunder that one hears outside the domain's gate calls out the curious souls. This is also similar to the last one, but electro instead of hydro. The last one for now is in Inazuma. They say that in antediluvian times, now lost in history, there was once a foolish ruler who dreamt of building a high garden in the honor of the white sacred tree over the primordial sands. Now, dead silence fills the kingdom built on sand, but the obsession of the past remains. So this also talk about a garden like the one from Cecilia Garden. So after reading these 3, I realized something obvious. These domains of forgery are not from Teyvat, but they are not from Khaenri'ah specifically either. Each domain talks about a different kingdom that made gardens and altars around the sacred white tree. Cecilia Garden is filled to the brim with water, but others are not. This made me think that these different domains are from different regions from a different continent, just like Teyvat, a continent that has 7 regions with 7 different elemental affinities. People like to keep Khaenri'ah on a pedestal because it's the most notable kingdom in that continent. By the way, from now on, the continent on the other side of Teyvat, I will be calling it the Underworld because that's the name I gave it to it on my first video. So the Underworld, just like Teyvat, has 7 regions with 7 elements. But they do not use elemental magic like people from Teyvat. Instead, they use Khaenri'ah. We know that much from Albedo and Dainsday. This Khaenri'ah is not that all-powerful, but the people of the underworld compensated for that with technology that surpassed Teyvat technology by centuries, if not millennia. Take the ruined automatons for example. These domains are a fragment of past, preserved in time due to the distortion of time and space itself. So this is something interesting. You already know that the Gnosis resembles a back row chess pieces, right? And if we assume the Archons have the black pieces, for now, I will give the reason later. Hi, Future Me here. So I did not give the reason, but you can watch this video where I explain it in detail. There should be the other side of the board. There should be the white pieces for a game of chess to exist. And from what I found, these kingdoms that are in the underworld that coincide with Teyvat regions are the regions those white pieces belong to. But the elements of those regions are different from their Teyvat counterpart. According to the forgery domains, White Queen is Hydro, the White Rook is Electro, and the White, probably the Bishop, is Geo. Now with that, another question arises. If these are Gnosis on the underworld side, there should be Archons as well. But as we all know, Khaenri'ah is a kingdom in the underworld that is said to have no god. But what comes to your mind when saying a kingdom? A king or a royal family, right? Listen carefully. Teyvat is the side where elemental magic is used, and gods exist. According to our earthly scientific standards, such things are supernatural. But kings are not. They did and do exist to this day. There is a royal family in Britain, and other countries like Arab, Thailand, and Japan have kings or emperors. The similarity between us and the underworld is much more stronger than Teyvat, because we in our world use science, which includes chemistry, which originated from alchemy, which is Khaenri'ah in Genshin world. So with this connection, I can say that white Gnosis pieces are possessed by 7 kings from 7 different regions in the underworld. They may or may not have died during the countless wars. To back it up, the Gnostic hymn cutscene shows a kingdom and its king ordering its crowned heir to find a Genesis pearl. Next, I read the 3 talent book domain descriptions. After reading them, they seem different from the previous 3 from the forgery domains. They did not talk about any kingdoms or any hints of the underworld. So the Mondstadt one goes like this. It is said that in ancient times, people would venture into the valley to seek out the ancient tree on the altar. They would whisper their secrets into the tree hall, relieving themselves from the burden of keeping the secrets to themselves. The Forsaken Rift is filled with long forgotten secrets. It says that ancient people screamed into the hole of the tree, but the altar made around the tree was there long before. Liuevon is this. Once people who sought the path of the Adaptai had to pass the trial of heaven and earth. Taishan Mansion served as the trial of earth. Now that the Adaptai have long departed from this realm, Taishan Mansion has also turned into a common treasure trove. This is the biggest hint we get to where these domains originate from. It says people had to pass the trial of heaven and earth, but the domain itself has nothing to do with heaven. It's just an underground cave with a pit of lava. So it's just the earth part. And the trial is to learn from the Adaptai. But there is no indication that Adaptai created them. This domain leads me to believe that these mastery domains doesn't belong to the underworld anymore. But rather, it's the same as forgery domains, but these ones were tangled up in space and time and appeared in Teyvat long before anyone can remember even the Adaptai. Now they are used by people of Teyvat for different reasons without knowing its origin. Like if you look at the architecture of the altar, it's the same as the forgery domains, meaning they both have originated from the same place. And this is the one that sounds most ridiculous. It's the Inazuma one. Sometime in the ancient past, the mountains rose higher than the skies, and the earth was larger than the heaven's dome. But one day the mirror shattered and the oceans rose. In these legends, this caused the court of the primeval Sakura to become sundered from the other islands. Again, as the previous one, it talks about something from Teyvat. Sakura is mostly talked about in Inazuma, but this Sakura tree is not the Narukami Sakura tree. That one was planted after Raiden Makoto's death. But this tree is the Irminsul tree seen by Inazuma people and thinking it is a Sakura tree. But what is this ridiculous nonsense about mountains that reach heavens and a tsunami? I believe these are an exaggeration of the war between black and white pieces on the chessboard, or heaven and earth, or Teyvat and underworld, that ended in the earth side winning the war when this domain was functioning properly. Hi, it's future me again. I realize I didn't explain what the tsunami is. It is the no man's land between heaven and earth, or in the words you might know, the Dark Sea. Let me explain. The world of Genshin is a chessboard, but the rules they play under are different from real chess game. This symbol I used to describe Irminsul tree in my past videos is actually both Celestia and Irminsul tree combined depiction to show the world of Genshin. But why is the symbol on the Adventurers Guild flag is still a mystery. But if I had to take a guess, it would be that they use the symbol that depicts the entire world to say they will adventure the entire world or something. On a side note, we still don't know the name we could use for this world, right? Teyvat is just a continent, so what's the world called? Sorry, I went on a tangent there. So anyway, this symbol also correlates with the domain mural to some extent. So I was searching Google for what this domain mural meant. But all I found was that explaining it using one half of the mural and saying both sides are the same. And they all took the 6 eyes looking thing as 6 different things and connected them to the 7 elements, but one is missing. Maybe someone already thought of what this exactly is in the way I saw it. But sorry, I haven't seen it. The 6 eyes are just 3 pairs of eyes. Yes, 3 pairs of eyes from 3 beings. It's that simple. So now if we connect this to Gnosticism, there are 12 archons and 7 are sent to the mortal realm to govern the humans. So there's 7 elemental archons, but 5 are left. In a chessboard, there are 8 pieces, but there are only 7 gnosis with probably the king missing, and 1 sustainer of heavenly principles. Now we have our 12 archons, right? 7 elemental archons, 1 king, 3 eyes to resemble 3 overseers, and 1 sustainer. So there are 5 celestial gods, and we figured out that one of them have the king gnosis piece. But as we established before, the domains are properties of the underworld and not Teyvat nor Celestia. So the mural has 2 halves up and down. Since the domains are from underworld, the upper half probably resembles underworld. But it doesn't matter since both sides are the same. This means the hierarchy of the archons from the both sides are the same, but the names used by them are different. And their origins are also different. As there are 5 celestial deities, there are also 5 earthly kings. To solidify this theory, the white tree has 5 rings to resemble the 5 higher beings. So as we came to a conclusion before about the whole world of Genshin being a chess game, the king is the one that should be protected at all costs, as if he falls, other side wins. But to do that, their opponent should go through the pawns and the 7 archons, and only then they could put down the king. With the king, the 8 pieces pairs up. But what about the remaining 4 deities? As I said before, one sustainer of heavenly principles, but she is also a special case. Since she was the one who pushed both the twins back into the Genshin world, I don't think she is biased to any of these 2 factions in heaven and earth. Although she called herself sustainer of heavenly principles, she might also be the sustainer of earthly principles. But well, let's be real. For someone who came from a different world, saying she is a god is much more threatening than saying she is a king. She is like the goddess Justitia, goddess of justice. Yes, I am aware that Hydro-Archon is the goddess of justice, but she is the goddess of justice for heavenly deities and Teyvat, but not the whole world. Sustainer is there to punish the ones who cheat the rules of this twisted chess game and pick the players. I will come to that point in a minute. So as we established, there is a king piece on both sides and the sustainer of heavenly principles stands in the middle as the referee of the chess game. Now we are left with the three gods that depicted by the six eyes. These gods are a question to me as well, but they are depicted by eyes, which means they can see everything, or three overseers. Both sides have three of them. I will not confirm who they are, but there are a lot of candidates for this position, like the three moon sisters who are above the world and watching over it, or Paimon who is watching us. I mean, she admits that she is a god, but no, she is not the king piece. If she was, she shouldn't be moving around so much. The king should be someone like the Soul King from Bleach, have insane power but the movement is limited. An overseer should have knowledge of this world in a higher extent since that's their duty, just like a certain annoying fairy looking guide. But then the question pops up as to is Dainsleif also an overseer from the underworld? He is a special case, and no, he is not an overseer but someone of an even higher rank than the king. With that, we come back to the sustainer picking the players. Dainsleif also goes back to talking about 500 years ago stuff and even asked us for 500 more of a commissioning him. This has to mean something more than just Khaenri'ah getting stepped on by the gods. I think the chess game happens every 500 years between heaven and earth. That's why even in history, during multiples of 500, something major happens in the world. 500 years ago, the cataclysm happened. 1000 years ago, Mondstadt aristocracy fall and Sea of Monster attack in Liyue and Inazuma border. 1500 years ago is unknown. 2000 years ago, Archon War ended. 2500 years ago, fall of Decarabian. 3000 years ago, the start of Archon War. When someone wins the chess game or wins the war, the scale of this world that balances heaven and earth gains one weight. Currently the balance is heavier on the heaven side. Princess Fishel's book talks about 9 worlds. What if these 9 worlds are 9 world resets after 9 chess matches of the heaven side tip the scale onto its side? In other words, the balance that holds the world tipped to the black side from the white side, and it continued to gain victories in the years of the world iterations that came after, with some losses here and there. That is when the chaos happens in Teyvat. But since the balance is still on the heaven side, the effects are less on Teyvat. This whole chess game and balance thing is just metaphorical and actually is a real war commanded by one player on each side. But the whole idea popped up because Dainsleif can't shut up about talking about things from 500 years ago. We know that he was the Twilight Sword of the Kingdom of Khaenri'ah, right? But a title like that is also given to us, the Traveler, the honorary knight of the Knights of Favonius. Now, if you were paying attention, you can piece the puzzles together. We are the players and are the players who place the black pieces, and our twin is the one playing the white pieces. Sorry Island, I have to debunk your theory on the travelers being the pawns. In a normal chess game, a pawn can promote itself only to one of the 7 back row chess pieces, except for the king obviously. But the travelers can use all elements. This means we have control of all the pieces on our side. Same with our twin, who has full control over their side of the board at the end of our journey, at the end of the game. Then you might ask me, Ekemen, if the twins are not the pawns, who are the pawns? They are the Allergens. People in Teyvat with normal means can only have one element for the rest of their lives, just like a pawn in chess. Once they get promoted to a higher ranking piece, they are stuck with that for the rest of the game. Unlike normal chess, in Genshin, there are a lot more than 8 Allergens. With similarities between the travelers and Dainsleif, we can come to a conclusion that Dainsleif was the winner of the chess game from 500 years ago, when the white side won the war, and now the scale is in one battle away from tipping back to the white side. Also, the she Dainsleif refers to is his once opponent from the black side. I'll leave what happened to her to your imagination. But Gold tried becoming the player by using the Primordial Human project, making a monster outbreak in the process. In the eyes of the Sustainer, this is a violation of the rules, so she destroyed Khaenri'ah as a punishment and wiped the memories of Tevat people. If you look back in time, Khaenri'ah is not the only nation that got stepped on by the Sustainer. The ancient kingdom of Vendagnia tried recreating the altar used by the people of the underworld underground. That's the peak of Vendagnia domain. And they got punished for that as the Skyfrost near shut down their connection with Celestia. The artifact domains and the abyss also have a part in this. According to domain of Guyun, they are like rally points for the army of the underworld, like a campsite or a safe zone for them. And some of these domains are, according to hidden place of Zhou formula, they are labs or storage spaces that contain powerful weapons and formulas that the army of the underworld was supposed to use but could never use. That ended up being used by Zhongli at a later time to seal the dragon named Qi. These domains are more modern and are in much better condition than the forgery and mastery domains. This leads me to believe that these were made during the last war 500 years ago. Same with the abyss. About a month ago, I made a theory about maybe 4 spiral abysses do exist, and those were used to bring their army to Tevat from the underworld. So the domain ages go like this. Mastery domains are the oldest, with even the domain forgetting its history, then the forgery domains with some remnants of civilization, and finally the blessing domains are the newest. It's possible that this war surpassed even the mastery domain era. After diving this much deep, I am starting to believe that the Archon War we know was just one of many, but is the most recent that chose the new generation of Archons. After all, the previous era Archons and their allegiance died off. Just like how domains are from 3 different generations, the Archons who won the Archon War also might have 3 or more generations. So if my theory is correct so far, the end of Genshin is also predictable. We could have played the game when Dainsleif was the white player, but no, you and me, dear travelers, are playing this game as Lumin and Ether. We might be playing to see the end of this war between heaven and earth. The final game of chess will be end in a draw. Then the real creator of this world, Demiurge, will appear pissed about making his game glitched. With the fusion of light and dark, we will defeat him as the final boss. Then we'll replant the world tree using the Genesis Pearl and realign this broken world. The war has already begun, and hopefully it will not be another continuation of past battles. With that note, I end my observations. Maybe I am just dreaming alone with this theory. But hey, this is just a theory in a random dude's head on the internet. Smash that like button if you enjoyed the video. I went into a rabbit hole that no one has ever been before. So, do you agree with my theory or not so much? Either way, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you do agree, please do share with your friends. And if you like theories like this one, hit that subscribe button. As a small theorist, I appreciate every single one of you. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, let your imaginations run wild.